Okay, Loui, thanks for taking the time to talk to us tonight for WingsTV and the official site. It's been a pretty mad 24 hours, I should imagine, for yourself. When did you first get the call to sort of take over in a caretaker role, Loui?
It was yesterday afternoon. Got the call from Piggy, and we actually applied for the job before Jodie got appointed. So when Daisy first left, we actually applied for the job, and they were aware of our kind of proposal, our first proposal. So I got the call on Monday afternoon.
Okay, and not to touch too much on the situation, but obviously a tinge of sadness that it didn't really work out for Jodie and his time here at Welling United.
Yeah, you know, it was a tough period. You know, he kind of came into the team with quite a threadbare squad, you could say. You know, and he managed to make some additions. You know, and in that time, we just didn't quite pick up the results we would have liked. So yeah, it's been a bit unfortunate, I would say, but things needed changing, and yeah, the board have decided to make a change, and I feel that we are the right guys to come in and just add a little bit of extra kind of passion, a little bit extra urgency, you know, a little bit of extra intensity that is needed, because we actually have got a group of lads and you know, we've got a good foundation to work with, and just excited to get started, really.
Yeah, when you say we, who's going to be the backroom team with yourself, Loui?
It's going to be Matt McIntyre, who will be head coach, and we're going to bring in Paul Barnes, who's going to be assistant coach.
Okay, so obviously Welling fans will know Matt McTaggart, but Paul Barnes, just tell us a bit about Paul.
Yeah, Paul's been working with Matt as a coach for quite a few years now, and Matt's always spoken highly of him. And I first came across Paul a couple of years ago, and he's got a very good attention to detail. You know, you can almost call him a little bit of a football nerd. So he brings that nice attention to detail to the team, and he's a great guy to have on board. So it gives a kind of nice balance to the coaching team, because Matt prides himself on a nice high-intensity style, and we've worked together for the last 6 years. So we work well together, and Paul's just a great addition to the team, really.
And have you been given a time scale of sort of how long you're in charge for? Is it to the end of the season, or is it on a game-by-game basis? How's that going to work out, Loui?
Well, we've literally, since we've got the job for the foreseeable future. So I guess, you know, it's as long as they decide to give us, hopefully we can pick up results starting from this Sunday, you know. So that's our kind of target, to pick up results from Sunday, and then we just see where it goes. So we've just been told it's the foreseeable future, and we don't really want to look any further than Sunday and the upcoming games. I guess that will all kind of resolve and sort itself out as we go on.
Were the players in for training today? Have you taken training today?
Yeah, today was actually our first session. We only got the actual confirmation late last night, so yeah, we were planning for today's session late into the evening, and yeah, we actually put on a nice sharp session this morning. We started with a talk. We spoke about our plans going forward. We held a nice kind of open conversation with the boys. We got some good feedback, and yeah, we put on a nice sharp session. The boys were buzzing, to be fair. It was nice. It was a good atmosphere around the training ground. Yeah,
I was going to ask, how was the mood in the camp? Obviously, when a manager departs, there's obviously a little bit of shock, but it's good to hear that the mood was positive. Was that fair to say?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like you say, you know, in the beginning, you know, some players weren't too sure of what exactly was happening, so we had to address everything in the meeting beforehand. That was important. We got all the major topics out. It was a nice kind of open conversation, and it was nice and positive. And yeah, by the end of the training session, everyone was buzzing, you know. So it was definitely a good first session, and we've got the boys back in on Friday and Saturday before the big game on Sunday. So some more time to get the lads going.
Obviously, you've been around, sort of the former manager's regime, so to speak. So, have you seen ideas where you think I would change this? I would change this. Have you got your own style that you want to implement on the squad now, Loui?
Yeah. Like I don't really want to talk about past regimes. Really, I just want to talk about what we're going to introduce. You know, with the past work that me and Matt have been doing together. We're big fans of, you know, the conditioning side of the game and the high intensity kind of approach to the game. You know, so that's definitely one thing we'll bring to the team is a good level of conditioning and a nice high intensity to our game. And we're just going to make sure that all preparations is looked after, and the boys are as best prepared for each game as they possibly can, because all the ability, they'll go out there on the match day and they can produce, but it's just a matter of us just preparing them in the right way. So they are able to go out there on the match day and do the business, really.
We've obviously got a few players out on loan, Malachi Hudson, Charlie Penny and Ben Jefford. Is it in your thoughts to bring any of those players back into the squad?
Well, we're currently in talks. The whole of today we've been talking with Barry, and we've been trying to figure out what's happening with these loan deals. So we haven't quite made any concrete decisions just yet. We're just still trying to work out what the situation is. So yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind first day, but hopefully that will all be sorted out in the next couple of days.
Could that also mean that some players leave and some players join, or is it sort of the squad we have is what we will go forward with?
Well, at the moment, we're still in the process of trying to speak to everybody individually. It's important that we do that. And we just need to make sure everyone is on board with our philosophy and on board with, our ideas for the rest of the season. And anyone who isn't, we won't hold anything against them. We'll be to them potentially looking to go elsewhere. But it's key that everyone is on the same page and everyone is on board with us. So it's a matter of just getting to speak to everyone on an individual basis over the next day or so. We'll know a lot more.
Obviously, we've got 11 games left now of the season, and we find ourselves just hovering over that relegation places. There's some big games in the league tonight, which obviously will have an effect on our position. How do we survive this season now, Loui? How do we get out of the trouble we find ourselves in?
You can kind of call it a little bit of a cliche, but literally we've got to approach each game. Individually, we've got to approach each game as a cup final. We can't kind of look too far ahead at game or that game, or try and, predict what sort of points we're going to pick up. We've literally got to approach each game like a cup final and just aim to be as best prepared for each game, get the players up for it, get players ready for each game as best as possible. And literally that is the approach we're going to take. It's going to be one game at a time. And, like I say, we're confident that we'll be able to prepare the boys and get them ready to prepare and produce their best on the match day.
Obviously, you yourself have been with the club a long time. Obviously, very popular with the fans. And when it was announced that you'd be taking over as caretaker manager, it was positively well received with the fans. How important are they going to play in a part in the rest of the season and really driving the squad on, Loui?
Yeah, of course. The fans have they have a big effect on the morale on match days, on the atmosphere on match days. So all I ask for is them to continue supporting the boys. We're going to make sure the boys are out there giving their all. We're going to make sure that they're putting their bodies on the line for every ball, every challenge. And we just ask the fans to give us their full support. And hopefully, we believe we can actually we can stay up, and we believe we can pull off the results.
And lastly, Sunday, Altrincham at home on the telly. Of all games, to have your sort of the managerial debut on the telly. Looking forward to that one, Loui?
Yes, I'm very excited. Actually, I'm very excited. It's a bit of a baptism of fire, but it's definitely something that's very exciting. It's not very, it's not too daunting whatsoever. You know, it's especially from a player's point of view. You know, every player loves to play in front of the cameras, and if they can't get themselves up for it, then you know they're going to struggle to get themselves up for games at any time. You know, so we're just going to look forward to it. We're going to prepare the boys to go out there and just give it their all and play to our game plan. You know, so yeah, it's just it's exciting.